Welcome to the Write, Publish, Market podcast. If you're a business owner thinking a book would be a great marketing asset for your business, you're in the right place. Maybe you've already committed, even better. I'm your host, Jody Brandon, book publishing strategist and partner for business owners, CEOs, and entrepreneurs, and 20-plus year veteran of the book publishing industry. On the Write, Publish, Market podcast, in addition to learning from me and other industry experts, you'll hear from other business owners about their experiences as we explore all facets of writing, publishing, and marketing a book that will help your business grow in ways you might not even be dreaming of yet. I'm so glad you're here. Let's dive in. Our guest today is Teddy Smith. Teddy is the Partnership Manager of Publishing Performance and the host of the Publishing Performance Show, a podcast that helps authors sell more books and build profitable publishing businesses. As a book consultant, Teddy specializes in Amazon PPC and book marketing, helping authors to maximize visibility and sales. He also writes for industry publications like the Ecomm Manager and speaks at events including Bestseller Summit, Low Content Summit, and Freedom Navigator Summit. Teddy, welcome. So happy to have you here today.
Thanks very much, Jody. Nice to be here.
Can you give the listeners just like the quick 411, who you are, what you do, all the things?
Yeah, of course. So my name's Teddy Smith. I'm an author of non-fiction books, mostly in the meditation niche. Plus, I've got a children's book under my own name, which is called Lottie and Lara's Big Day Out in Yorkshire. You can find that on Amazon. It hasn't sold very many copies, but I wrote it to be fun, more for my kids. And also, I'm the Partnership Manager for Publishing Performance, which is a AI-driven Amazon ad account manager. And the way it works is it uses AI to plug into your Amazon account, create your campaigns, and run your campaigns for you. So essentially, it acts as an Amazon ad account manager, but without having to pay a real person to do it.
Love that. All right. Well, we'll definitely be talking about that. Let's dig in a little bit. I'm assuming, obviously ads is a huge topic. We're not going to be able to cover everything. Let's assume that our listeners are not super familiar with running ads, what they need to be doing, how they need to be doing it. So let's kind of walk through some of that. I guess my first question is, are the most successful self-publishing authors using ads, would you say?
Yeah. Well, unless you've got a really big name behind you, or you're very lucky and you jump on a niche which either has no competition or you're kind of one of the first people to that competition, it's very difficult to get shown on Amazon without running any ads at all. It's not impossible. And obviously you can use things like your own social media, your own mailing list, social media ads, maybe even word of mouth, but it is difficult to get shown on Amazon without using any ads at all. Yeah. And the reason is because Amazon is essentially a massive search engine and it shows results to the customers based on what the customers searched for.
Okay. Do you think, and I know this isn't your particular wheelhouse, but you know more about ads than I do, so I'm going to ask. Do you think like Amazon ads in conjunction with like Google ads or Meta ads, or like, do you think just Amazon ads for books is enough?
It depends on your aim and your goal.
Okay.
With Amazon ads, it's directly on Amazon. So everything you do with Amazon ads is directly impacting your performance on Amazon. And Amazon is the biggest bookshop in the world by an absolute mile. So it's not that Amazon ads are better than Google ads or Facebook ads, and it does depend on your goal. I can give you a few examples of where maybe Facebook ads or Google ads would be better. So say, for example, you're more interested in creating direct sales, then Facebook ads are going to be much more effective because you can drive people to your website. Sure. If you're more interested in building up a mailing list and you're using a book as more of a lead magnet, for example, Facebook ads are going to be much more effective because Facebook allows you to collect customer data. It allows you to send people to landing pages. So it depends on what your goal is. But if your goal is to sell more books and to build up your recognition on Amazon, which is still, and I know it is a bit controversial. Some people don't like Amazon, but as far as I'm concerned, I love Amazon. It's the biggest platform in the world for selling books. It sends you loads of customers that would be very difficult and expensive to get without using Amazon. And so Amazon ads, if you want to achieve on Amazon, then it is probably the best way to do it.
Yeah. I say that I have a love-hate relationship with Amazon. Like, I get why people don't like it, but also that's where people are going to buy things, especially ebooks. So
I think with Amazon, it gets a bad reputation because of it's a big company, it employs people, and you hear lots of news stories about it because it's such a big company. But behind nearly everything you buy on Amazon is a small business selling a product. So, you can't really blame an author or someone who creates a very small brands on e-commerce for selling on Amazon. So
that's a great way to look at it.
It's like what you say, it is love-hate because you hear all these news stories about this massive company, but at the end of the day, you are still buying from small businesses and you are supporting those small businesses, and a lot of them wouldn't be able to survive if Amazon wasn't there. So I totally get what you're saying.
Yeah, I like that perspective. That's a good way to think about it, especially if you are leaning toward hate today. Okay. So, I mean, I do think that the sticking point for a lot of the listeners to this show are business owners writing books. So their goals are not necessarily just sell more books. They want to sell more books, of course, but the lack of customer data from Amazon is that's their issue for sure. So, so now let's assume we're going to go forward. We're going to do an Amazon campaign. What are our best practices here? What do we need to know? What are the top few things people need to know?
Right. Well, the most important thing that you need to know, and if you take nothing away from this podcast, apart from this one lesson, is that Amazon is a search engine. And I know that really sounds obvious, and I've already mentioned it, but it's important to think of Amazon as a search engine because customers search for things, and then Amazon shows you results based on what that search is. So if, for example, you've got a book that is about how to train dogs, you want to be appearing when customers search for something like dog training or dog handling or puppy training, something like that. There's no point you appearing if someone searches dog food because that is a completely different search term, even though it is about dogs. So Amazon's a search engine, and the way that they show results to customers is based on something called relevancy. Now, relevancy comes in a couple of different terms on Amazon. It's not just about how literally relevant the search term is to what you've just typed. So in my example before, dog food and dog training, that the relevancy for your book would be dog training. So that's the first thing.
Right.
But it's not just that. The way that Amazon works is that Amazon always wants to sell things. Now, this might sound obvious. Amazon is an e-commerce platform. They always want to sell things and they're really interested in making money. Now, the way that they show results to the customers is based on your purchase history for that book. So the first part of the way you appear in the searches is called the relevance, and that's how closely your book matches to that search term. The second part is how many sales you've made against that search term. So let me give you an example. If you've got a book about dog training and someone searches dog training and then buys your book, Amazon goes, when people search dog training, they buy Jodie's book. So next time someone searches dog training, we're going to put Jodie's book a little bit higher so that more people can see it and it has more of a chance of getting bought. This concept is really important to understand. I call it the Amazon flywheel, and that's the term I use for it because there's a couple of things that impact it. And once you've started the flywheel moving, all the different parts impact each other. So the first one is relevancy. Second one is search history. The third one is reputation. So that's things like your reviews and the quality of your book. Those things you can have a massive impact on because when you have good reviews, people are much more likely to click on your listing. Remember, Amazon's tracking all this stuff.
Right.
They're much more likely to click on your listing, much more likely to read your book. And if they like it, much more likely to leave you reviews, which gives you a better reputation on Amazon. If you think how you shop, if you see something on Amazon that's 5 stars rather than something that's 4 stars, you're more likely to go for the one that's 5 stars. And it's the same with books. And so that reputation is important. Now, all of those factors have an impact on your search rank. And the better your search rank is, the more traffic you can get to your listing, the more traffic you get to your listing, the more purchases you can get. And Amazon, remember, is tracking all this stuff. So more traffic, more purchases, more reputation, more traffic, more reputation, more purchases.
Right.
It goes round and round and round. So the books that are appearing near the top for the searches that you want to appear for are probably the ones that have made the most sales against those relevant keywords. And that is, if you take nothing away from them today, that is the most important thing to think about how Amazon works.
Okay. What should we have in place before we're ready to, okay, I want to run an ad campaign. Do I need to have, so many reviews already, so many sales? Is that not really the way to think about it?
So a lot of people say you should have maybe 10 to 20 reviews before you start running ads.
Okay.
I think obviously that is quite idealistic because how are you going to get those reviews until you start getting sales and getting those,
right?
How are you going to kick down? So I personally start ads straight away. Now, you might find those ads at first are slightly more expensive, maybe don't convert quite as well.
Okay.
And that's your time when you need to think, make sure you're using your free promotion period to send more traffic to your listing. Make sure you're using your ARC team to give you the reviews as soon as possible. Make sure you're sending your message out to your email list to get those reviews as quickly as possible, because the ads are the thing that's going to tip the difference, really. Because all of that traffic you're sending to your listings, that's great, but they're not that traffic you're sending. They're probably not searching for your book. So it's not necessarily going to have as big an impact on your search ranking. And remember, the search ranking is important because you want to appear near the top of the searches, because the nearer the top you are, the more chance the customer has of seeing you.
Right.
And that's where ads come in, because if you think back to my flywheel at the beginning, where you've got the part between traffic and search. So we had search rank and then traffic. Now, without search rank, you're not going to get too much traffic because you're not appearing near the top. So ads are a way to help you get to near the top because you can pay for those clicks. Now, Amazon tracks the purchases for ads in exactly the same way as it tracks the purchases for organic sales. So if your book's new and you want to rank for the keyword dog training, you could put that into an ad. And if you start making sales for dog training, Amazon's then going to take that as people like your book when they search for dog training. So it's going to start kickstarting that flywheel.
Right.
And that's why I think Amazon ads are the perfect way to start getting that organic rank and start manipulating the search results.
That's interesting that they view it the same.
Yeah, I don't know if it's literally exactly the same.
Right, but
no one knows exactly how the Amazon algorithm works.
Well, right. Yeah.
My experience is that Amazon tracks the sales for the clicks. And if you think about it, there's no reason why they wouldn't want to track the performance of your clicks, because Amazon makes money in two ways. They can either sell your book or they can sell the click. Yeah. If they can sell the click and you make a sale, you're more likely to keep paying for that keyword to appear near the top. And so as far as Amazon's concerned, they want to make as many sales as possible.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. What's your philosophy on ads being, sort of like set it and forget it versus like lots of tweaking and testing? And what do you see working well there?
So Amazon themselves, they help you with something called automatic ads. Now, the good thing about automatic ads is that they're super easy to get set up. So if you have literally never done any ads ever before in your entire life, maybe set up an automatic ad for a couple of dollars a day, leave it for 3 or 4 days and just see what the results look like. Yeah. You spent $20 and you've learned something. Problem with automatic ads is obviously they're very easy to get set up, and Amazon has they don't really have any incentive to optimize it for you, because Amazon quite happy for you to keep spending your dollars per day, keep getting those clicks being clicked. And if you make sales, great. But if not, then you're just spending money. So that's the problem with automatic ads. In terms of setting it and forgetting it versus tweaking it every day. Now, I'm a bit of a data geek. I love this sort of thing. So for me, I'm happy to go into Amazon ads campaigns, see which keywords are working. Mm-hmm. But really, for most books, you're not looking to rank for 1 million keywords. What you're looking to rank for is 1 or 2 of the main keywords that you really want to appear for. And then later on, you can think about trying to find those other keywords where maybe there's slightly more competition or slightly different search intent. So my opinion is you want to find those ads that you can set and forget, because you don't want to be going into your ad campaign every day. You're a writer. You're not an ad person. We're all creative people. I don't want to be sitting there looking at a spreadsheet like 5 hours a day, like
absolutely
trying to make one more extra sale. It's like heartbreaking. So So ideally you want to create campaigns that you can set and forget if you can. Okay. But that doesn't mean you can just put it there and just never look at it ever again. You don't want to be going for hours a day. Yeah.
Okay. Hey there, business owner, an aspiring or published author. Sorry to interrupt this episode. Just wanted to check in and see if you're subscribed to Coffee and Commas, my email newsletter, where I share behind the scenes, industry info, and much more about writing, publishing, and marketing a book for your business. Sign up at bit.ly/coffee and commas sign up. That's all lowercase. Now back to the show. What about ads when the book first comes out versus, let's say I'm relaunching a book. The launch didn't go great. The book's been out, 3 or 4 months now. Are ads something that could help me sort of kickstart a refresh there of almost like a new launch? Would that be a good time to run an ad campaign or?
Yeah. Yeah. So if you're thinking specifically about a relaunch, an ad campaign is a great way to do it, because what you can do is, especially if your book's an ebook as well, then you can run a free promotion. So the way that I like to run my relaunches is set a free promotion. So 3 or 5 days, depending on whether you want to save some for later on.
Right.
And then during that free promotion, that is your time to go really crazy with marketing and messaging people and saying, hi, everyone, my book's free. Let's go. There's some tools out there that can help you get those free downloads. Like Pubby is a great one. Free Booksy by Written Word Media is another one. There's also Book Blaze, I think. There's a couple of these sort of services that can help you get your book out, get your book in front of like relevant newsletters. So if you've got any author friends, get them to help promote it. Your ARC team, your newsletter, promote it through there. You can find relevant Facebook groups about your book. The tactics will be slightly different for fiction versus non-fiction, but you've got to think about what your target audience, where they are and who you want to find. And whilst your free promotion is running, you should be having your book in the ad campaign. The reason is, yes, it might cost you a bit more money because you're running ads and some of the purchases are going to be free. But with my experience, especially with non-fiction, less so with fiction, people will still buy the paperback. So you might recoup some of the funds. But also, if you get all those downloads, your ranking can be massively increased, which means you can start appearing organically in searches. And that is really can kick that flywheel into motion again. Because, I did a launch the other day and I did exactly the method I mentioned, Facebook groups, my newsletter. I used Free Booksy, and it was in Pubby to get some reviews as well. I had 2,000 downloads of my ebook in one day, but and I was running ads for that. Mm-hmm. But on the same day, I had something like 100 paperback purchases. So people went onto the listing and they're like, oh, actually, I want to buy this instead of getting it for free.
Okay.
So,
interesting.
Yeah. And getting 2,000 downloads in one day, that can really start to kick things going. That was quite exceptional, but I don't think it's that exceptional. I've seen people get way better numbers than that.
Right. Okay. Interesting. Now, do most of the people you're working with this is my ad spend? Am I putting all of it into the Amazon bucket, or am I spreading the wealth? Or does that again depend on your goals, like we talked about earlier?
I think it really depends on your goals.
Yeah. Okay.
I think it depends it completely depends on your goals. Are you trying to build your sales on Amazon, or are you trying to do something different? I see Facebook ads, it isn't so much of making a sales kind of, it's more getting them into your net, I think. Like with Facebook ads, it's quite difficult to make a Facebook ad profitable if you're just selling a book. If you're selling a series of books, maybe it can get profitable down the line. I don't like to speak out Facebook ads too much because other people know way more about it than I do. But as far as I'm concerned, a Facebook ad, if you're just selling one book, it's quite difficult to be profitable because of the way that the clicks work and things like that.
Okay.
But getting people into your net with Facebook, you've then got your on a newsletter, you can then market them further. It's a really good thing to do. So I think it really does depend on what you're trying to do.
Okay. That makes sense. Okay. How about some other do's and don'ts, like that the average Joe or Jane wouldn't know?
Yeah. Well, if you're creating your own manual campaigns, well, I'd say experiment with automatic campaigns. And if they're working, great, keep them going. I'm never going to tell you to stop a campaign if it's, profitable and doing well. Just leave it. But you probably will find it won't be profitable for a long time. So think about that and think about learning at least a little bit about manual campaigns, because it will help you to set up campaigns and to learn more about what data points you should be looking at and what KPIs you should be looking at.
Okay.
With a manual campaign, a good don't have a million keywords. Don't try and rank for even like 20 keywords. If you have 20 keywords in your campaign and your budget is $10 a day, you've only got 50 cents per keyword per day. So that's spreading quite thin. You're not going to be able to see good returns on that.
Right.
And you've got to think, what are people searching in order to find your book? You want to make sure that they're searching for the right keywords and you're getting that organic rank working, because it's much more important to build that organic rank than to make that single sale. Yeah. So that's a good don't have too many keywords. And also don't spend too much time fiddling with different keywords. Like let it run its course for 2 to 3 weeks at least, so that you can start collecting that data.
Okay.
A good do is, and this is why we actually built our tool in the first place, is if you are wanting to collect lots of different keywords and outsource a lot of this, you can use AI to help you with a lot of these things. Now, it's not just publishing performance. You can use ChatGPT to help you come up with keyword ideas, or you can use ChatGPT to help you work out what your bidding strategy should be. But realistically, publishing performance is a great tool for doing ads because it's specifically designed for authors. So it uses the AI to make decisions on which keywords should be increased bids on, decreased bids on, which ones should be added to campaign, removed from campaign. And it does it all for you in a sort of set and forget way. So a good do is if you are looking to pick up those sales from different keywords, then using a tool like Publishing Performance is going to be more effective than using an automatic ad.
Okay. Well, and that makes sense too, because even if you are getting the data, if like we were talking about before, you're the author, you're not a spreadsheet expert, you know what I mean? So figuring out like how to best use the data you're getting, maybe best to leave it to someone who understands what they're doing. Okay. So definitely. Talk a little bit about what your company does, how it helps authors.
Sure. So I promise I wouldn't speak about it too much until the end. And to be honest, if you follow the strategies I've talked about before, that is enough to get you going, especially if you're on a slightly lower budget. So I just want to make sure if you do want to run ads yourself, I'd go and do that, because you'll learn more. You'll learn a lot from doing that.
Sure.
But the way that Publishing Performance works is it plugs into your KDP account. So we only do Amazon ads. We don't work with any other type of ads. So we are specialists. And it plugs into your KDP account and it sets up your campaigns. It can choose your keywords. You can give it some keywords if you want. If you don't know which keywords you want to rank for, you can just leave it as it is. Then it will choose your keywords. It will choose the bids for those keywords. It will then create all the campaigns and put the keywords in the right place. And over time, it will optimize things like your bid and your keywords and which keywords are working, which ones are working. And it presents it all to you in a really easy to understand way so that you can see which keywords are working, which ones aren't, how much you've spent, and the trends behind the data. So the way that big authors work, especially if they've got publishers, is they have these huge data teams behind them, creating ads, running campaigns for them. Now, though having an Amazon ad account manager is very, very expensive. You're talking about at least $500 a month, but realistically more like $1,000 a month to $1,500 a month, just for someone to run your Amazon ads. So we created Publishing Performance to use AI to make those decisions that really you should be making for your ad campaign, but maybe you don't know how, or you're finding it overwhelming, or you don't have the time to do it. So that's why we created Publishing Performance. And it's super easy to get set up. It plugs directly into your KDP account. You'll be set up in less than 5 minutes.
Wow.
And then it's all done and you can set and forget.
Yeah, love that. And you get the same data, right, that you would if you were doing it manually. It's the same data. It's just how it's
You get exactly the same data.
Yeah.
The only difference, so if you log into your campaign manager, which is the Amazon's ad platform, you can download reports and you can look at data and you can see what's working. It's a really ugly platform, and it's also quite complicated to understand what the data actually means and what the trends are. So we bring all that data in and present it in a way that is easy to read, nice graphs, the keywords are laid out correctly so that you can see what's going on. And that dashboard is actually being improved quite a lot at the moment. So even if you aren't running ads, it will still bring in your sales. So you can read all that data really nicely.
Okay. Interesting. You've given me a lot to think about.
Yeah.
I will be honest. I've never run Amazon ads, and I haven't really thought about it a ton.
You've never run Amazon ads ever? Really?
No, because I'm not trying to my goal is really to grow, it's on the business side of it, get people onto my email list and lead gen and all of that versus just regular book sales. And that's what most of my clients are doing also. So ads is not something I'm super familiar with. It's not something I work with clients on. So it's really, that's when I met you, I was like, oh, I have to have Teddy on the podcast.
Yeah. So are most of your clients nonfiction writers?
Yeah.
Right. So, well, in that case, it's a much more straightforward, Publishing Performance is going to be much more helpful. Honestly, it's much easier to use Publishing Performance than to do it yourself. With fiction authors, there's different complications behind the way that people search for books.
Sure.
With non-fiction authors, people are looking to have a problem solved.
Yes.
So let's say, for example, someone I worked with the other day called Aurora Winter. She's she does similar stuff to us. Mm-hmm. She has a book which is essentially teaching people who have businesses how to do things like podcasting and public speaking to grow make more money basically, and to grow their reputation.
Yeah.
Now, the way that Publishing Performance can work for someone like that is if you're running Amazon ads and you want to appear start appearing for keywords such as how to start podcasting or make more money as a business owner or something like that, then your book will get put in front of people And then the book itself becomes the lead magnet. So when people read that book, you can put things like QR codes or like links to your work in there, with some nice quotes by famous people you've worked with. And then, then people can get in touch with you. So it can work in exactly the same way as a Facebook ad. I would say if you are simply just wanting to collect leads, probably Facebook is going to be more effective at doing things like the book funnels, because obviously that's exactly what it's designed for. But Amazon has way more searches for books than Facebook. So it's kind of like, where is your audience living? People, business.
Where is your audience living? But also I feel like I get asked all the time, should I even put my book on Amazon? You should yes, put your book on Amazon, no matter what you're trying to do, because there will be people that find it, especially if you're making it easier for them to find it. And then, any of those sales that are, even if that's not your main goal, it's the cherry on top of the sundae, right? So, yeah.
Why wouldn't you have your book on Amazon? It doesn't make any sense.
Exactly. Yeah. Whether you love Amazon, hate Amazon, like, again, Amazon's where people are going to buy things, including books. Yeah. Okay.
Oh,
okay. The wheels are turning I'm revising my book right now. Okay. Well, before I let you go, Teddy, give me a reading recommendation. I don't let anybody leave without giving me a reading recommendation.
A good reading recommendation. Yeah. Well, I'm going to give a fiction recommendation. Is that okay?
Anything goes. Yes,
I've been trying to calm myself down with a bit of fiction recently. Yes. Now, there's an author called Joe Abercrombie, and he's a fantasy author. Now, I'm not like into fantasy. I wouldn't say, like, I love Lord of the Rings, but I'm not like a fantasy geek. But his books are absolutely amazing. They're kind of medieval Lord of the Rings-y kind of books where you've got different characters arcs, and they're quite epic. They're quite long and they last a long time. And I was listening to them with my wife on audiobook, and the narrator of them is a guy called Stephen Pacey, and he's the best narrator I've ever listened to. So the book is called Joe Abercrombie. The first one's called The Blade Itself. So you could start there. Absolutely fantastic book. And also, if you're looking for a long listen, they are long. They're like 25 hours each.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's a long read. Okay. I love that. That's not a genre that I typically read, but one of my goals this year is to branch out and read different genres. Yeah. So that's a good recommendation. I will check that out. All right. Okay. And then where's the best place for people to connect with you, Teddy? We'll put all your info in the show notes, but where's the best place for people to connect with you?
Yeah. So a couple of ways. I've got my podcast, which is called The Publishing Performance Show. We basically help authors to make more money, whether you're fiction or nonfiction. I talk to industry experts such as yourself. I've had great guests such as Dave Chesson, Kevin Anderson, Craig Martell, like some really big names in the industry. And we talk all about how you can make more money selling your books. And you can meet me on my website where I've got a newsletter, which is teddyagsmith.com. And if you want to find Publishing Performance, then there's a link to it in this show notes, which I'll give to you, which has a special code for a free first month.
That's very generous. Thank you.
Or you can just visit publishingperformance.com.
Perfect. Oh my gosh. And listen, no matter what your goals are, no matter what kind of book you're writing, who doesn't want to make more money from their book? So
exactly.
That's a great pitch for your podcast, Teddy. Thank you so much for all of this information, but also your time. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you. Speak later.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Write, Publish, Market podcast. I know just how busy business owners and CEOs' schedules are, and I'm grateful you've taken some time out of yours to spend with me today. If you enjoyed this episode, take a quick screenshot and share it on social to let others know you're listening. Use the hashtag WritePublishMarket to spread the love.